Okay. Now, we finished up the eye yesterday, okay? And Nicole, the lecture will be up for you if you just so you can merge it. It's only like 15 slides, so it's not a big loss. We have a guest from your guys' 11 o'clock peers. 11 o'clock peers. She's in the back. She came in early to take that. You know, sometimes stuff comes up and you do need to come in early. By the look in her eye, clearly it is morning. She's like, oh, 8 o'clock. All right, so we're in the ear. We're in the ear, external ear, auricle. Okay, surrounds the entrance to the external acoustic meatus. Something every single person in here should know. External acoustic meatus. All right, so what does it do? It protects the opening of the ear canal, provides directional sensitivity, so funnel, okay? External ear, well, acoustic meatus, ends at the tympanic membrane. We don't say eardrum. Now, they put it up there so you understand what they're talking about, but now that you've heard it, you cannot say eardrum. In fact, if I ask you what it is, and if you write down eardrum, I'll mark it wrong. It is the tympanic membrane. Again, the only reason why they put it up there is so you have a reference of what they're talking about. It is the tympanic membrane. Okay, the tympanic membrane is a thin, semi-transparent sheet, separates the external ear from the middle ear. External, middle, that means there's got to be one more, inner. Okay? Oh, whoa, love this image. It's so beautiful. It's fantastic. It's amazing. Love it. Oh, beautiful. External, middle, and internal, or inner ear. Okay? Looks like a few people did print it up. Have it available to themselves right now. There's our auricle. There's our external acoustic meatus, our tympanic membrane, and then we go into the tympanic cavity. We have ossicles, 3 little bones, the smallest bones in the body. Okay? The smallest bones in the body, and we'll learn about what their names are. Okay? They help funnel or vibrate the sound waves for transduction. Okay? And then we have the oval window and the round window, and those will actually have something to do with hearing when we get to it. They go right into the vestibule, and part of the vestibule is for balance, and part of it is for the entrance to hearing. And then we know this as cochlea, but when we first heard it was vestibular cochlear nerve. So, vestibule, balance, cochlear, hearing. Do they need each other? No. You can have one without the other. Okay, they are 2 separate items in our head, actually. I was thinking of a different word, but that'll work. These guys right here, which they're clearly not defined, there are 3 semicircular canals. 3 semicircular canals, and those semicircular canals are there for position of your head. And it's interesting because if you have 3 semicircular canals with fluid in them, and you do this, will it move? Yeah, it will. Okay? So yeah, and it tells you what position your head is. Yeah. Now, bless you. We have actually a little bit more to that, okay? We have to actually think about velocity. Can you guys feel velocity? Yeah, you can get used to it. Right? How many people have been on the freeway and you're like, oh, I got to take this exit because I got to go potty. And you take the exit and you realize you're going way faster than the exit speed and you're slamming on your brakes to slow down. You're like, whoa, that was close. Right? You adjust it to velocity. Okay, how many people have been in an elevator? The elevator gets close to the bottom floor and you jump up in the air. All of a sudden the elevator keeps going, but you went up even higher. The distance to the floor is even more, and you do this. That was awesome. Let's do it again. Okay, did you feel that difference, that drop? Yes, you did. All part of the vestibule and semicircular canals. Okay, one thing I do want to talk to you about is the eustachian tube or nasopharynx. Nasopharynx tube, auditory tube right here. That's in the inner ear. So guess what? Air, fluid. Right there, all of this is fluid. Okay? So if there's air in the middle, how do we equalize it? We've got a tympanic membrane on one side, a bone on the other side. How do we equalize it? Well, right there. The auditory or eustachian tube. So when you're going up in an airplane, what do? Have you ever looked back at people, or forward? I mean, you really can't see them forward, but back. Like if you're in the front of the plane, you look back, everybody's doing that. Don't plug your nose and blow out. That's a good way to pop your tympanic membranes. And when I say pop, I mean rip. Don't do it. Okay, just let it do it naturally. The best way to do it if you're going to fly is throw some gum in. Gum will take care of it. Why? Because this little tube right here, what happens is it's not open like that. It's actually flat. And every time you gulp or open your jaw, it does this. And it equalizes the pressure in there. Okay, it's just tissue, and the tissue's flat like this. And every time you do this, it opens it up just enough to equalize the tissue. No, I wasn't yawning. It's okay. I know it looked like a yawn, huh? All right. So, and if you're asking yourself, well, why doesn't it do it when I've been asleep for a little while and then I try to do it? Well, that's because you've built up enough pressure where it's pushing on it and it won't open. So when you do finally get it to go, it's like, oh, right? Because it was too much pressure behind there and it pops open and it kind of hurts a little bit. Okay, now over a period of time it will do this, just a little bit to let the pressure out. The pressure will find its way out. Okay, but it takes some time and you usually can't hear or you feel like you can't hear. Okay? So it's to equalize the pressure in there. External ear, ceruminous glands. What are we talking about? Cerumen. Yeah, I'm glad you brought up, the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Did you watch that recently? No? Oh, you're talking about earwax. Right. All you guys are looking at me like, what? I'm on The Hobbit now, Phil. That's so old school. I don't do Lord of the Rings anymore. Kids nowadays. Yeah, secretes waxy material. Okay? Waxy material. Now this is great if you have a special someone. Okay? Because all you do is you just take a nice little wick and you in there and you let it set for like maybe 3 or 4 days and then and pull it out and put it on your kitchen table and serve up a nice dinner. You got a candlelit dinner.
Oh my God.
It's perfect, right? Now, do you guys know that they do that for real? It's a holistic or natural holistic way to get rid of the wax. They actually put a wick in there and they burn it. They actually do it. And you're looking at me like, no, they actually do it. That's how they get the wax out. Okay? So, how often do you guys, people once a day, you guys grab the Q-tips and you're once-a-dayers? Because if you are, stop. It's protective. Keeps foreign objects out of the tympanic membrane. Slows the growth of microorganisms in the external acoustic meatus. About every 3 days is good, not every day. In fact, you're not even supposed to stick Q-tips in your ears. It specifically says don't do it. Okay? And most of you are like, oh, this is so good. Every day. Don't do it. About 3 days is good. Okay? Let it build up. Let it protect you. I mean, I had a student say this to me. Phil, you got a French fry in your ear. I'm like, really? Just tell me I got wax in my ear. I'm good on that. A French fry. Okay. So, according to her, I had a French fry in my ear, which means I had wax in my ear and I needed to clean it out. Okay, cool. Okay? Yeah, so don't clean it out every single day. Leave it for a while. Middle ear, also called the tympanic cavity, communicates to the nasal pharynx via the auditory tube. Permits equalization of pressure on either side of the tympanic membrane. Ta-da! There you go. Just what we were talking about. Now, it encloses and protects 3 auditory ossicles. Ossicles just means small bones. Ossicle means small bones. Okay, the malleus, the incus, and the stapes. Now, if those words on the side help you remember them, you can use them, but they are not the answers. The answers are the Malleus, the Incus, and the Stapes. Now, the Stapes does look like a stirrup. Okay, it looks like the little thing you would put your foot in if you were going horseback riding. If you were an equestrian. So what's the name of that tail hanging off the spinal cord? The cauda equina. Look at that. Somebody in this scientific world loved horses. They're like, you know what? We've got stapes, stirrup. We got the cauda equina, the horse's tail, right? Yeah. Someone liked horses. Gotta like those peeps. But Malleus, Incus, and Stapes in that order. Okay, Stapes does look like a stirrup, so that'll help you put them in perspective. And there you go. Okay, notice, and this is kind of, they put the muscle in there, the tensor tympani in there. Okay, helps hold tension on these little bones to prevent them from actually damaging during loud noises. Okay, so it helps hold tension on there. But if you take a closer look here, right here, and that's a small image, but you can see that it's actually a little stirrup-looking thing. It looks like something you put your foot in if you were horseback riding. Now the muscles. Okay, stapedius muscle, the tensor tympani. The names actually kind of tell you what they do. Okay? Stapedius, what are we talking about? The stirrup, right? Okay? And then tensor tympani, it's okay, tympanic membrane, it's actually holding it tense. All right. That's what it looks like. Pretty crazy, huh? I know. Yeah, usually all I see is earwigs, like and the pictures coming after you when you look in there, right? I'm more scared of an earwig than I am a spider, that's for sure. Like anything going into my brain. Yeah, I see you all cringing now. I'm going to bring a jar of earwigs in one of these days. Okay, there's our little bones, little tiny bones, ossicles. Vibration of the tympanic membrane converts arriving sound waves into mechanical movement. Auditory ossicles conduct vibration to the inner ears. Conduct. Let's take it to the inner ear. Tensor tympani muscle stiffen the tympanic membrane, and then stapedius muscle reduces movement of the stapes at the oval window. So it's actually just holding everything very, very tight in there. They're still going to move, but it actually keeps them from getting out of control. Now the interior contains fluid. So what did I say? Air, air, fluid. Okay, so it contains fluid, also known as endolymph. Endolymph. A bony labyrinth surrounds and protects the membranous labyrinth. It's subdivided into, and I've already mentioned these three to you, the vestibule, semicircular canals, and the cochlea. Three different parts. Now the cochlea, all about hearing. Okay? So a closer look, notice that we do have the vestibular duct, the cochlear duct, the tympanic duct, the spiral organ of Corti. Let me say that one more time. In fact, I'll write it on the board for you. It says right there, the spiral organ of Corti. That's actually the organ of hearing. Okay? So, cochlea itself. Now, notice that it's wrapped up like a snail. Okay? What's really cool about this is the fact that if you undo that, it looks like this. Okay, does everybody see that? You have this outer, and then this right here, inner. Now, why is it? Well, can you guys hear different sounds? Beep, boop. Yeah. Well, guess what? They land on a different part of that, telling you what sound it is. If it does not land on this, It is the sound outside of your ability to hear. Go figure. So if it does not strike that, see the little blue thing? The spiral organ, the blue thing going around there? If it does not strike that, you cannot hear it. And depending on where it strikes it is what you're hearing. Now I talked a little bit about balance, the semicircular canals and the vestibule. Okay, that's all about velocity and up and down and this. Okay, if I keep doing that, I'm going to fall over. So clearly I'm not a figure skater. That's never going to happen. Okay? I love roller coasters, though. I love a roller coaster. But when we go back to hearing, it's just the cochlea. And if it strikes anywhere on that cochlea, you can hear it. If it strikes outside of it, it's gone and you cannot hear it. All right? Now, we're going to elaborate a little bit more on that, but this is a good way to start off. Are we tired? So, this is, let's just cut that, turn it so you're looking right down the middle. So if we cut that and turn it, look down the middle, there you go. So perilymph, bony labyrinth, endolymph, membranous labyrinth. Yes?
What is it called, their implant? Are they replacing that?
Part of it, yeah. So that you can actually hear.
You just take part of it out, put something else in?
I don't know the exact procedure, but that is exactly it. Okay? So, internal ear, vestibule, has two parts. The saccule and utricle. Let me call utricle. Utricle. Receptors provide sensation of gravity and linear acceleration. So, what was the elevator? Okay, which one of those two was the elevator? Gravity. Which one was your car going to the rest stop? Linear. Okay? So they provide feedback for gravity, the elevator, and linear, the car. Semicircular canals contain semicircular ducts, receptors stimulated by rotation of the head. And now, if you're standing still and the thing you're on is rotating, that still counts. Right? How many people got on that thing and then your friend starts spinning it really super fast and when you get off, you're done? Yeah, I don't do that anymore because I'd probably yak. When I was a kid, it was fun. Now, not going to happen. Okay, internal ear, cochlea, contains the cochlear duct, an elongated portion of the membranous labyrinth. Receptors provide sense of hearing. Where do they provide it? Well, boom, 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 boom. And it's all the way across the board because there's not 5 sounds. There's not 5 sounds. There's pitch. Okay? There's volume. So there's not 5 sounds, but that's an example. Internal ear, the round window, thin membranous partition separates the perilymph from the air-spaced middle ear. And then the oval window, formed of collagen fibers, connects the base of the stapes to the inner ear. Stimuli and location. So let me see where we're at time-wise so I can make sure that I get this. Come on. Ooh. Yeah. This is nice. Very nice. I got 3 minutes. And then the pain and suffering begins. So, stimulation and location, sense of gravity and acceleration from hair cells in the vestibule. Please note this is super important. Sense of rotation, semicircular canals. This is the 3rd time I've said this. So, and then sound, cochlea. So, 3rd or 4th time I've said this, you need to know them. Equilibrium, sensation provided by receptors of the vestibular complex. Hair cells, basic receptors of the inner ear, provide information about direction and strength of mechanical stimuli. So if we have a hair sticking up like this, you have to think how we will get any type of stimuli out of that. Well, think about it this way. If we bend the hairs this way, we can send a signal. If we bend the hairs this way, we can send a signal. This way we can send a signal, and this way we can send a signal. So any way we can bend those hairs, we can actually send a signal. And that signal will go to the brain saying we're leaning that way or we're leaning this way. Okay? So can everybody touch the hairs on their arms without touching their arm? Can you feel that? Did it send a signal to your brain saying you bent the hairs on your arm? It did. Can you take a hair and lift it up and go, mer, mer, and sense that you're bending it from one side to another? You can. So guess what? It's no surprise that we have basic hair cell receptors in the brain, in the hearing, that do this. Oh, he's leaning. Oh, he's leaning back the other way. Forward. Yeah. It's not crazy. Not crazy. Semicircular canals, well, this is craziness here because, wow, stereocilia? Whoa. Okay. Ampulla. Okay. Kinocilium. Well, what are we talking about here? These are continuous with the utricle. Each duct contains, and what do? Well, associated sensory receptors are on the surface of the hair cell. Again, can we sense that they're being bent? If we can, it tells us where we're at with balance. Okay? So I think this is a good spot to stop because I think I used up my 3 minutes. I did. Okay? So clear off your desks. Tick tock, come on. We're on a time frame here. Come on, you got 5 minutes to do this. Let's go. Tick tock. Yeah, rouse them down. Don't look at them.
Oh, okay.
Right. Hold on. Wait for the last row there. Okay, you ready? Have a nice weekend. It's a little worksheet for you guys. You can fold it in half and use it twice. It's the same image. You can fold it in half and use it twice. I might give an extra one you get. That was awesome.
Weekend.